same heart of a king that we had that had been put to sleep. But we thank Allah that he recognized that the roar of Master Farad Muhammad was not some regular roar, but was that roar that he was looking for to come from Jesus Christ. And he bore witness that at the time he met him, that not only was he Jesus, not only was he the Messiah, the Christ or Mahdi, but he was God in person. And he submitted himself 100% and became a 100% convert. Therefore, even though he had diabetes, even though he had many different physical and medical ailments, he was cured from every ailment that he ever suffered from. Even though he only had a dime in his pocket, he later built an $80 million empire. How did a man go from a dime to an $80 million empire? How did a man go from being an alcoholic and on the brink of suicide to never drinking again or smoking any form of drug, and not just saving himself, but becoming a savior of hundreds of thousands of black men and women all over the earth? The Honorable Elijah Muhammad. It's because that man, Elijah Muhammad, was a 100% convert. Well, we can gauge the degree of conversion that we've experienced when we accept the message of Allah through the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, based off of how rapid and how fulfilled we are in our change from the previous state. And if we are under trial, under difficulty, and we can scratch the surface and that same old Negro pops right back up. If we are under an emotional stress or some friction and we immediately respond the way we used to respond, then that's a sign that our conversion process has not reached a level of 100%. If we came to Elijah Muhammad and we had high blood pressure and arthritis and different ailments that we suffer from as Negroes in the world, yet we say we believe in how to eat to live, yet we say we study the study guide, yet we say we fast 3 days out of the month with the whole nation, but 10 years later we are still suffering from the same ailments we had when we were the Negro version of self. It's a sign that we might be a 20% convert, a 30 or a 50% convert, but maybe not yet a 100% convert, because a 100% convert goes from a dime to an $80 million empire. A 100% convert goes from an alcoholic to a savior of a nation. A 100% convert goes from being one that's willing to take his own life to having so much love for self and truth that he saves the lives of other men and women. That's the way a 100% convert looks like. All praise are due to Allah. The most honorable Elijah Muhammad, in becoming a 100% convert, he developed what I would like to take on as a subject tonight: bulletproof faith. A faith that was unshakable. A faith that was unable to be penetrated. And no matter how scientific the white man's mind became, and how he began to marry and develop different metals and different type of tips and points with different thrusts behind different types of weapons, that bullet shot from the enemy was not able to penetrate the honorable Elijah Muhammad's faith. Now the question is, if those of us that follow the honorable Elijah Muhammad and those of us that follow the honorable Louis Farrakhan, if we are to be greater than the followers of the prophets of the past, then we can't be like those that say they love Jesus and ooh and ah about a man, put him out there on cloud nine, make him above and beyond and an excuse for all of our wrongdoing. But if we are to beat the prophecy of the old prophet's prediction, we can't be cheerleaders rooting on the man of God in our midst. We can't be oohers and ahs and looking so high up in the air that we can't find the power within ourselves that they manifest. But if we are to beat the old prophet's prediction, then we have to look at, study, analyze the pathology that made a Farrakhan, the course of action that made an Elijah Muhammad. What did Master Farad Muhammad put up with? What did he go through? How did he deal with his brothers and his sisters? How much forgiveness did he have in his heart? How much love did he have for his people? And if they loved the people and took a lot from their brothers and their sisters and were under intense trial and difficulty to become what they have become, who are we to shy away from that which would develop in you and me in 2006. Bulletproof faith. All praise are due to Allah. We cannot have bulletproof faith in the same way that a police officer can have a bulletproof vest. Because a bulletproof vest can be purchased from a traditional store. Is that right? And no matter how right, no matter how moral, no matter how loyal, no matter how sane, no matter how knowledgeable a police officer is, if they have enough money, they can purchase the vest. Is that right? So a bulletproof vest can be put on by the wicked and the righteous, by the honest and the dishonest, by the truthful ones and the liar, by the honest police and the corrupt police officer. But bulletproof faith is not something you can go pick up from the gun shop. Bulletproof faith cannot be purchased on the internet. Bulletproof faith is something that you have to use or buy in a spiritual world. And in the physical world, it may only take a few dollars to buy an item. But in the spiritual world, it takes a certain type of character, a certain amount of study, a certain amount of focus, a certain amount of prayer to be able to get you some bulletproof faith. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad, when he accepted this mission of the resurrection of the dead, think over that for a second. The assignment of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad to us is to raise people from the dead. This does not mean that as Muslims that you will find us at Crown Hill trying to work some form of black magic or some voodoo or try to go through some special chant with a piece of bean pie, some black love incense, and some Egyptian musk oil on, and we will put our Egyptian musk on and burn our black love incense, eat 2 pieces of bean pie, and work some Shazam in the cemetery. And poof, Negroes will start popping up out the earth that died 50 and 60 years ago. No, we're not trying to raise bodies from the ground. We're trying to raise minds from the mud of civilization. We're not trying to bring people out of a cemetery that has a casket and 6 foot of dirt over top of that casket, holding that body captive in said casket. But we are trying to raise our people from the ghettos of America that are under a 6 mile or a 6 inch or a 6 foot deep layer of falsehood, lies, misconception, and deceitful knowledge taught by a beast that is under that number 6. So that format of raising black people, after being hit in the head and left for dead, after being stripped of our land, our language, and our name, and our culture, our religion, and our God, the scientists say that the 5 most primitive things of civilization that one must have in order to have confidence, that one must have in order to have a proper connection to their roots, that one must have in order to advance the ancestral culture of the people they came from, is number 1, they have to have their original name. They have to have their original language. They have to have their original land. They have to believe in their original religion and bow down to the God of their ancestors. And when the people are disconnected from the 5 basic social instincts that allow roots to be established, that allow culture to be passed on, that allow our ancestors to live, then that people are considered dead. Therefore, when Allah God described the process of saving black people, He didn't call it just getting what was lost. He didn't call it just trying to clean up a people. He didn't call it just waking up people, because the condition of black people is far beyond sleep. It's far beyond just being dirty. It's far beyond just needing a reminder. But our condition has